Hi, this is Desiree Carlson from the International Association for Counseling, and here we're back in our interviews with members from IAC. And I am very happy to introduce to you to Kristen, who's with us today to tell us a little bit about herself. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Desiree. It's great to be here. It's an honor to get to speak with you and share a little bit about myself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Kristen, where you're at and a little bit about your work or whatever you want to share about yourself?
Absolutely. So I currently live in the state of Georgia, near Savannah, in the United States. And my current job is I am an assistant professor at Georgia Southern University with the counselor education program. And I'll be starting my 6th year doing that and 7th year of teaching overall. And I am also a licensed practitioner, licensed practicing counselor, in Georgia, as well as a clinical supervisor. So I'm not currently seeing clients, but I am actively supervising postmaster students. So
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about the difference in your experience in teaching and actually doing counseling, practicing counseling with clients? How is that experience for you? Is there a contrast? Is it very similar?
Sure. So when I first graduated with my master's and practiced for a few years, I realized how much I wanted to share the knowledge I was gaining from practicing in the field with the next generation of counselors. And so that's when I decided to pursue my doctorate. As far as teaching goes, I really love teaching. I do miss actively practicing more often, but I love teaching. I love meeting with master's students and getting to know who they are, getting to know their interests in why they wanted to become counselors, and really being a part of their professional identity process as they learn to take on that role of counselor. And it's also quite humbling in some ways, but they teach me just as much, I think, sometimes as I teach them. So it's been really beautiful. But I think that's also very similar to work with clients, right? They teach us just as much as we might share with them as far as how to help make their lives better and so on. So there's a lot of similarities.
That's right.
Nice.
It all goes back to relationship, right? That's where they all go into the same place. Thank you, Kristen. Now, about your role in IAC, would you tell us about your recent role and a little bit about how you got involved into IAC?
Sure. So my current role is member at large, or one of the members at large. Just to backtrack, I joined IAC in 2018 with the encouragement of one of my mentors who had long been involved in the organization and has done a lot of work in the international community. And I had co-taught a class with her abroad, and she just said, in order to stay connected to this international community, you really should consider joining IAC. And I did, because I trust her. And, I went to the conference in Rome and then the subsequent conference in Moncton, and just really loved connecting with different professionals. I love to hear what counseling looks like outside of the United States, because we know that it's not the same everywhere. We're not even called counselors everywhere in the world. And so I took so much away, just not only from the presentations I attended, but also just these intimate conversations, sitting down at a cafe and talking with people and hearing their stories. And so, I decided, why not try and up my level of involvement by running as a member at large. And so here I am.
Great, thank you. You said that the motivation that you had was to be part of an international community. Why is that important to you as a counselor?
So I think, especially in the United States, and I'm only speaking for me, but it's very easy for me to be insular with my thinking of, you know, as an American citizen, what do I do? What does counseling look like, specifically in the United States, especially where I am? And I think that could be such detrimental thinking, because I'm meeting and working with students and clients of all backgrounds. And I don't want to be limited with my definitions of practices and interventions. And so one thing I talk to my students about is how to be a global citizen. And I realized, you know, like I said a few years ago, I wasn't really, you know, practicing what I was preaching, so to speak. And so part of increasing my identity as a global citizen involves getting more involved with international communities such as IAC. So
wonderful. What are some of the biases that of your own biases that have been confronted while meeting and working with people from different cultural contexts?
That's a really good question. What are some of my biases? You know, I hate to be repetitive, but again, to say that even, you know, again, counseling doesn't look the same everywhere in the world. And so even using the word counseling may not feel, that may not be something that a client feels connected to. They might think that, oh, I'm crazy if I need counseling. So, you know, really putting in perspective things that I've been taught in my American-based programs and classes, and thinking more about, okay, so how would Carl Rogers' approach look in, you know, in Ireland, outside of the United States? You know, I think sometimes that's, you know, one example, but I think sometimes I don't always apply theories to a global forum. And so having those conversations, you know, Dirk's presentation was really eye-opening. And so that's helped me confront, maybe quietly and personally, challenge some of these beliefs I've had, and really grow. So I've been grateful for those opportunities.
Thank you, Kristen. That's great. And it's very interesting that you say that I personally and intimately confront those, because I think that through IAC we have those different ways of understanding international context, that it's first during the meetings and like over the conversations that we have, but at the same time there's a lot of things going on inside ourselves, and just like understanding and creating this unique perspective that combines what I get from the international viewpoint with what I already have, and the mixture of that becomes something very unique. And I think it's very beautiful when you mention that. Now, for new members or people who are curious about IAC, what would you tell them regarding joining or getting closer to IAC?
I think that if you are able to invest your time and your resources learning and growing in an international community, then I say try it out, do it, meet some people, go outside of your comfort zone. And I think that there's so much that this organization has to offer that I've taken away in my very short time being a member and even serving on the executive council. I mean, even if you can't attend a workshop, finding, you know, someone to connect with who is a member and having conversations, getting to know people on a personal level. So I think I was taught as a grad student that joining professional organizations was a very important part of your professional development. And I was taught to join more American-based ones. That was just the norm. And I would really encourage, you know, whether you're a graduate student or a practitioner, supervisor, or just a person in the world who's curious to learn more, you know, take the risk. There's much reward, I think. So IAC has a lot to offer. I don't even think I fully explored all of the benefits thus far, but I think there's a lot more to gain by being a member here. So.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the people who watch this video?
I think this group has a lot of fun. I have to say, I mean, being at the 2 conferences I attended, the social events, the in-between conversations, when you're waiting for the next presentation to start, the outings that are available. I think that, yes, it's a professional organization, but there's so much fun to be had. And I think that's important as an organization to promote, that it's not just, you know, business all the time, that there is a real sense of community and, you know, a lot of fun connecting within that community. So that's probably all I'd add.
Thank you. I actually agree with that. I mean, more than the work that I do, I so much enjoy the community, the relationship, the family sense, and also the fun that we have, even creating material or just having a meeting. And I guess this is part of what being so international and from so different cultural contexts brings. We are all very open to understand the other's perspective. So that's an experience that I share with you.
Right. I think it's an organization that really does work hard behind the scenes to care for all members and not just provide lip service for we're doing this, but they're putting in the work saying, we're showing you how we're doing it. Okay, that's the final thing I'll say.
No, that's great. Thank you, Kristen, for sharing with us. It was wonderful meeting you and getting to know a little bit more about you. And I'm sure that people who watch this video will also enjoy it. For everybody who's watching this video, remember to click and like our IAC Facebook page and also look for us in YouTube in IAC Transcultural. And if you are interested about these things, share with others and help us grow our community. Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, Desiree.